Well, good morning, Lionhearts. Well, it's your old pal Jordan the Lion, and once again I got a few comments saying, dude, your video, like the quality of your video is weird on your new phone still. And I noticed it too. I actually had to refilm a few things yesterday because the app for the camera actually shut down in the middle. As I'm recording stuff, I don't know what happened. So anyway, that was the second phone. I called tech support and they're like, you know, you can bring it in and get a different one, but at this point, we maybe recommend that you get something else. So what I did was I tried putting it in safe mode, and so far in safe mode, the camera seems to be working pretty flawlessly. So I don't know if there's an app that I have downloaded, something that's screwing up the camera itself. So I'm gonna take this phone out and I'm gonna do the vlog today on the phone in safe mode and see how the video comes out and see if that's the issue, because I've re-examined this phone and I've re-examined going over to the iPhone 7, and I used to be a staunch iPhone supporter. I had 4 iPhones in a row, but I just never liked the battery. It just never lasted long enough and it was just always an issue. So once I got away from it, I was just like, I'm happy with Samsung, I don't want to go back. And right now, even going to the iPhone, it's going to be way more expensive because their memory is from 32 and then the next is like 128. There's no middle ground, and there's a pretty big price difference. So I don't think I need that much memory, but I definitely need more than 32. So I'm going to try doing the vlog in safe mode, see if the camera is working pretty well that way, and I'll just have to make a decision from there. I still have about 4 days of the buyer's remorse 14-day period to trade in, decide what I'm going to do, and it happens to pretty much expire right when I leave for Sweden, so we'll see what happens. We're going to go off and do the vlog and see how it turns out. This should be a pretty interesting one. We're going to go visit a man who claimed to have invented jazz. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. And this was not in safe mode. Well, just sitting in that weekend traffic, guys. Well, there's our destination for today. Wow. Now, how to get in? Well, my first time here. Well, it's a Catholic cemetery, I noticed already. Well, today we're wandering around this cemetery and we're looking for a man named Jelly Roll Morton. Jelly Roll Morton has a really fantastic history. I have always been a fan of ragtime music. I don't know where that came from, but I've always loved it. And about 10 years ago, actually probably even beyond that, probably 2004 or 5, I got really into listening to ragtime, buying up all these like Barbary Coast albums. And even when I went to St. Louis, I went and visited Scott Joplin's house. Now, Jelly Roll Morton was almost a continuation onto that, because ragtime was basically like 2-beat march music. And Jelly Roll Morton claims in 1903 to have invented jazz. And how he claims he did that was, instead of it being a 2-beat march, he actually made it 4 beats. And he would have noodling around in between those parts what would be called breaks. And during those parts, he would actually use that time to recreate what other instruments would be doing in the music, so it actually had a more band feel than what ragtime was basically originated from. And he was born and raised in New Orleans, and at 16 he was already performing in what was called Storyville. It was like pretty much considered a quasi-legal brothel, pretty much the only legal brothel in the United States. And this Storyville area had a lot of old historic houses, and those houses were all turned into brothels, so they needed performers, and he was one of them that would play piano in those brothels. And he would have to play a lot of popular music covers and things of that day, so he would play everything from blues to opera to Tin Pan Alley to ragtime, and this all conglomerating together would help him create a sound that he called his own. Now, when the war broke out, World War I, a lot of the people in that area that were or should have been enlisting to fight couldn't fight because they all had venereal diseases. And because of that, they ended up deciding to shut down Storyville, and Jelly Roll Morton went on the road, put together a band called the Red Hot Peppers, I know. It sounds pretty close to somebody else you've heard of. And he traveled the country performing and becoming a well-established, well-known, and well-respected member of that jazz community. Jelly Roll Morton went as far as even handing out business cards while he was alive, stating that he had created and invented jazz. Now, Jelly Roll's nickname actually was a name that was given to him in his kind of playing in the brothel days, and he actually would go on to be known as kind of a dandy. He wore really flashy clothes and had diamond everything, including a diamond tooth. And his basic egocentricities were kind of the thing that ended up weeding people out. And in the 30s, he basically just fell back into obscurity and would blame people like Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong for ripping off his sound. And here he is, Jelly Roll Morton. Now, what was rather sad was that Jelly Roll eventually would basically, like I said, fall back into obscurity, and he would live out his days playing at a dive bar in Washington. And he actually was stabbed there one night in kind of a drunken bar brawl and never really recovered from it and ended up dying of a heart attack. He's now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 1998, but he would forever go down as the man who claimed he invented jazz. And luckily, before he died, he found somebody who wanted to record his story and recorded quite a bit of his compositions and some of his old stories. And one of the odd kind of tag-alongs to his death is that he always attributed the stabbing and the failure in his health. He actually died here in Los Angeles. He claimed that it was due to a voodoo curse that had been put on him at one point in his life. If you've never had an opportunity to check out any of Jelly Roll's music, definitely check it out. I mean, you can, just about everything was titled with the word blues at the end. The Jelly Roll Blues is one of the most popular ones. And it was just a sad story. Once the Great Depression hit and swing music came, it basically just nudged him out, and a lot of people now have never heard of him. I was trying to find the record that I have. I was going to show you guys before I left, but I think that's one of them that I loaned out to somebody at one point when we were doing a record sharing thing, and I never got it back. So whoever has it, I hope they're enjoying it. Jelly Roll Morton, the man who claimed to have invented jazz. Like I said, I've been a Jelly Roll Morton fan for a few years, and then when I saw he was out here, I wanted to definitely come and see it. But I just thought that was so fascinating to know that somebody was able to take something like ragtime, like a 2-beat march, just this doom, 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 and hear a different sound. In the early 1900s, maybe even late 1800s, this guy was hearing this sound, and he was incorporating what should be tuba parts, clarinet parts, trumpet parts, trombone parts. He was incorporating all of it in just a single piano style. I mean, I think you can see that all the way up into people like Billy Joel's music. He's been doing that ever since. So what a timeless, honored tradition of Jelly Roll Morton music that's been passed along through the years. And like I said, he claimed to have invented jazz. Throughout the 80s, more music historians started agreeing and saying that he did start jazz, but even beyond that, they were giving him credit for helping to pave the way for the future of rock and roll. Rest easy, Jelly Roll. Well, I just checked my footage, and clearly safe mode did not work at all for me. So, option 2 now. There he is. Someone requested a signed photo of me, and I mailed it out last week, and it, for some reason, never arrived. So here's your second one, Deborah. I hope it makes it. I just wanted to send a shout out thank you to John Robeson and Frank Gentile for becoming my newest Patreons. Thank you, guys. Well, check that out, guys. I got an early birthday present yesterday. I love it. I'm going to swing by a jewelry store at some point today and have them knock the links out so that it fits my wrist. And yeah, awesome. And I think I'm just going to head over and try and... Just watching this not focus tells me that I need to go get a new phone right now. So I'm going to head over to AT&T and get a new phone. Alright, hopefully they're gonna swap it again. We'll see what happens. Well, Jaw, you're the test footage for the new camera. The new phone. Let's see how this does. You look way better. You look spectacular. Yeah, get it, bud. Get it, bud. Yeah, get him. Fight. Get him. Well, that's the end of the fight. Alright, so most of the issues that I've had with the S8 were with this side of the camera, but it was actually both sides, but this side particularly. So now I'm trying this out in 60 frames per second with the selfie side, and we'll see how this ends up looking. Hopefully this is the solution to all of our problems, or my problems anyway. Now this is really cool. I came home and I had a package sitting outside my door, and it was another birthday present, and what it is somebody sent me some Ray-Bans, like the kind of like what I wear, you know, except like a black version. So there we go. Looks good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Wow, looking out of these is like crystal clear. That's what real good sunglasses look like. I've never owned like good sunglasses. These are great. Thank you. I might actually wear these the rest of the day. Even though the green are like a trademark of mine, I maybe will alter using both now. Are my eyes deceiving me, or are those Christmas decorations? Well, I just saw that they're having an estate sale, and I'm gonna pop in here real quick. Well, we just came into a estate sale here at the historic Redberry, and they have some framed Bill Graham Grateful Dead posters for really cheap, so I'm gonna get one. Check this out, all this stuff's for sale. That is incredible. Pretty amazing estate sale. We just happened to be walking by and saw a sign for it. I'm glad we did. This is incredible. The historic Redberry. Oh, there's Norma Shear. Famous Cantors. I will be vlogging that in the future. I was walking by this store and look at what the inside is like. That is a shoe store. Yet, I feel like it's a mini golf course. The owner of Cantors was a big friend of Guns N' Roses and took a lot of photos of Guns N' Roses before they were signed, and that's what a lot of those photos on the wall are. Photos of Guns N' Roses playing Madame Wong's The Troubadour, 1985. So this is a photo of Guns N' Roses at one of their gigs, and if you notice, right over here on the side, it's signed by My Michelle, who this song was written about. Right there. That is so cool. My Michelle.